President, Superintendent Toscano, Board of Trustees, and members of the community, Pecan Valley STEM Academy is delighted to come before you tonight this evening to showcase some of our talented students and all the meaningful learning that's happening at our school. This evening we'll have Robert and Nathaniel to lead us in the pledge, followed by Penelope, who will lead us in prayer.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Father, as we gather tonight for this school board meeting, we seek your wisdom and guidance. Lead us in making decisions that benefit our students, teachers, and district. Give us unity, clear minds, and open hearts to understand each other. May our actions reflect your love and grace, and may our decisions align with your plan for the East Central community. In your name we pray.
Pecan Valley STEM Academy was honored to host our annual Veterans Day program where we were able to pay tribute to the men and women who have sacrificed so much for us. If we have any veterans with us tonight, if you don't mind please standing to be recognized. Thank you for your services. So this evening we have our 4th and 5th grade choir here and 5th grade students who wrote a poem about Veterans Day that they're going to perform for you.
We are so excited to start our second year as Pecan Valley STEM Academy. Our students are truly thriving. Let's see them out.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let go.
So you put it upside down, what's happening? And so what is it, what's happening? And it pushes it to it. Would that be a good cool toy to play with? No. Maybe, if it's one you're diving for, right? But if it's something you don't know how to swim or you don't want that kind of toy in there? No, because if you can't swim, you can't swim down to pick it up, right?
I think STEM is important because it can help you with science, technology, engineering, and math. STEM is also important because it can help you, for example, like a job, and it can make you want your job to be a scientist, a person that does technology, or a person that does engineering.
What happened?
I get
Did you complete the challenge successfully on that one? No, why not?
it hit the goal.
It hit the obstacle, right? So what do you need to do to fix it?
I don't really know what to choose because everything is so fun, but I also like all the robots and the building stuff, and also all the making towers, the ramps.
Hey, what are you doing today?
I'm trying to build a tower bigger.
Why? What does it have to be?
It's like have to be a bigger tower.
What does it have to be taller than?
The ruler.
Perfect. It has to be taller than the ruler. If it isn't taller than the ruler, then what do you need to do?
Make it bigger.
Good. Awesome job.
It's been a privilege being a STEM Academy for the second year in a row, and especially adding in our Savas learning curriculum, along with having a STEM rotation specialist classroom. Students have really engaged in their learning, as well as I've seen an increase in academic knowledge and attendance in my classroom in 3rd grade. I look forward to continuing our Savas curriculum and having our STEM Academy title named to our campus.
So we are, we're extremely proud of the amazing things our students have been accomplishing so far this school year, and we know we couldn't do it without the support of their families. So if we have PD families, which I know we do, can you please stand up so we can recognize you? Come on, all your Thank you all so much. We know we couldn't do it without you. And so thank you so much for letting us express our gratitude to our veterans and show off all the learning that's happening at PV. Thank you to our board for all the support and to celebrate 75 years of quality education in our phenomenal district. We have a small token of appreciation for you tonight. So thank you for being here. Appreciate everyone so much.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Doc, will stick around for a few minutes. That's the special awards and recognition.
Yeah, so we've got an athletic program that we want to recognize tonight, as well as an employee who's embodying our culture, who is honor to create in the district, as well as a partner in CPS who's going to provide the district with a unique check. We're very excited about it. So, Mr. McKay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So last year, the 7th grade volleyball program set out the goal of repeating as both district and STAC champions. As 8th graders, these young women accomplished their goal by going 10 wins and 0 losses, becoming the undefeated back-to-back STAC champions with a 2-year record of 20-0. Tonight, we'd like to recognize our 8th grade captains. Captains here tonight with us is Farah Funari and Kayla Massey, and their coaches are Edward Trevino and Julianne Riggs. So nothing extraordinary happens in isolation. These young student athletes have to have a strong support system at home. Parents make a substantial sacrifice for their child to practice early in the mornings, pick them up late at night, and are sitting always constantly in the stands, proudly supporting their child. Would the family members of these extraordinary, exceptional student athletes please stand so we can honor you at this time? If you're all right, stand and wave your hand for us. Next group. Congrats. 20-0. I don't know the last time that happened. That's fantastic. Bar high. All right, so here we go. The 7th grade volleyball team worked hard and persevered through some very tough games this season. Because of their commitment to excellence, they finished the season undefeated with a record of 10 wins and 0 losses tonight. Tonight, we would like to recognize the 7th grade captains, Tinley Vassbinder and Ava Guerrero, along with their coaches Sean Dixon and Raven Gary. Thank you guys. Great work. So the same goes for this group. We know that this only happens because they have strong support system. Would any of the parents in the audience of these exceptional student athletes, if you're here, would you please stand or wave your hand so we can recognize you as well? Appreciate it. Thank y'all. Good job. Congrats. Y'all set the bar pretty high because right now I think what is that 30-0 now in just the last 2 years when you combine the 2 programs together. It's pretty impressive. So pretty impressive. So every month we would like to recognize one employee out of 1,700 for qualities and characteristics that embody leading ECA. This month's leadership characteristic is cultivates culture, which is defined as someone who cultivates an inclusive and caring culture that embraces a sense of belonging, openness, and endless possibilities for all stakeholders, so that all students are provided with the best possible student outcomes in the East Central community. Tonight, we would like to recognize from Heritage Middle School, emerging bilingual paraprofessional, Maria Parada, for this award. Stick around up there, Ms. Parada. Ms. Chase, we're going to get a picture of you as well. Stay long up there because we have one more thing for you.
We proudly recognize Ms. Maria Parada, an emergent bilingual instructional assistant at Heritage Middle School, for her dedication to creating an inclusive, supportive environment where students and family feel a true sense of belonging. Beyond helping students develop English language skills, Ms. Parada mentors them to celebrate their cultural heritage as they excel academically. She bridges social and cultural connections, guiding students to thrive both in school and in life. Partnering closely with families and supporting district interventions like Summit K-12, Ms. Parada's tireless commitment makes a lasting impact on our community, embodying the spirit of inclusive education. We thank Ms. Parada for leading the EC way.
Congratulations again. to introduce Robert Olivares. He's the Key Account Manager with CPS with some great news from our valued partner. Step over and turn the mic over to you.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me again. This is what, the 10th year that East Central has participated in our demand response program. Every summer, we pay customers to shed load during the hot summer months, usually between the hours of 4 and 6. But this year, we added an extra program called our bonus hours program. And basically what we noticed about was that the grid was peaking again later in the evening from like 7:30 to 9:30. And so in order to help us maintain the grid on San Antonio, we added the bonus hours, and East Central was one of the few districts that participated in that part of the program. So I want to thank the superintendent for allowing the district to continue to be in our programs. And I believe this was a pretty good chunk of change for you. November update, I'm going to try to walk us through a bunch of things, and a little help from my friends over here, Dr. Holden and Jennifer. Last time, I left with a couple of notes saying, hey, you guys wanted some more detailed data, so I'm going to get into a little bit more detail, and I'm going to leave you links if you want to dig in and see more data. It's there, it's linked, it's ready for you. And then I heard some requests over data over time. Show me where we were previously, and then show me where we are now. I'm going to briefly pull up the external scorecard that we've done over the last few years. So it's a community-based accountability system where all the questions that we've been trying to answer. There's going to be some small tweaks to it that I want you to see. And then from there, I'm going to pivot back into attendance, give you an update, on disciplines. Dr. Holman will give you an update on CCMR. I'll briefly share some achievement data, and then Jennifer Casper is going to talk a little bit about some of the moves that we're making around that. And I have a little note on there just to remind you to say that the achievement data this time is going to be from the state. They call it room testing from the state. So it's questions that were from the item bank that they use for STARS. So they're really tightly aligned to state testing. And it's something that a lot of people throughout the state use. So we can kind of see how we're doing with those key grades and reading that. maybe acclimate you back to our external scorecard. We've got some colors over there on the right. So the blue and the green are the things that we're not as focused on. They're not the key parts of our plan. The kind of goldish yellow color and the reddish color are the bigger ones that we're really focused on. We're making some bigger moves, and they're really the core of our plan. And then you'll see some letters. So the same letters we've been using for a number of years now. So over on the left, you'll see OT means we're on track, and A means adjustments taking place. The other big adjustment this year is that if it's not one of the main focus areas for the current work, there may not be letters there. So I'm just going to give you a brief glimpse at it, and then I'll zoom in on a couple of pieces of it. So what I want you to see here is we've got all of the questions from our community over here on the side, and then we've got every campus and our big departments, business office, CIA, and FCE going across the top. And what you'll see is 1.3 here is one around being engaged. That's a big area that we did lots of plans on, so you'll see the colors and letters here. And you'll see that goldish color and red color are places that we're really focused on it. And then the one underneath it is students feeling safe and secure. That question that we've been doing for years. That's another big one that we did lots of work around. You can see lots of gold and red there. And I'm going to zoom in on those two in a couple moments. Okay, so that 1.3, like I said, is that engagement question that we've asked for years, and we're largely measuring that one around our attendance. So attendance is one of the major pieces that we use there. And so in a couple more slides, I'm going to give you the detailed breakdown on it. But at the end of the first quarter, while we were up on attendance, both campuses are still making adjustments. Two notable exceptions were that Legacy and CAST are actually on track to meet their attendance goal for the year. And we don't measure that like you're on track now because attendance tends to go down throughout the school year. We measure it as an increase compared to the same time last year. Are you up as much as you need to reach your goal? 2.1 is our one around safe and secure, and that one is largely one of the key metrics we use there is around discipline. So you may remember that we've got a goal to reduce our discipline referrals by 30%. And we're going to talk more about that. I've got some specific data from questions you guys asked. But what I want you to see there is lots of, again, gold and red were places we're focused on it. And I want you to see that a number of our campuses are on track to meet that goal of the quarter. And I'll give you an update since the quarter so you can kind of see how it's like last meeting we hadn't quite finished out. We finished out the quarter, and I'll give you an update as of I believe last Friday. And so really recent update on how we're doing on this. I'm going to pivot into the more updated data. Through the last board meeting, our district attendance was 93.7%. And it tends to start high in the school year, and it tends to slowly come down a little bit as the year goes on. What's interesting is that through the 14th week, our attendance is actually up. So we actually gained another 10%. So that's not relative, that's just a straight increase for attendance this year. So some campuses that increased their attendance since the last meeting, we've got about 7 of them there listed. So that's lots to celebrate, lots of good news there. And like we said before, at the end of the quarter, CAST and Legacy are on track, and we're still on track to meet their goal today. I'm going to break it out over here on the side for you. It looks like you guys have color there, that's great. So what I want to highlight for you is that in October, we were pretty happy. We said that Harmony was just a little bit below where they were last year. And look at them, they're now up 0.3%. We've spent the last couple meetings, this is our third meeting, talking about Sinclair. You may recall they were down 0.8%. Last month, they were down 0.4%. We're now down to 0.1%. And so we're about to catch up to where we were. So they're pushing, pushing, and we're gaining. I won't name out everybody there, but you can see lots of increases year over year throughout the district. And then CAST has a huge increase. Can I just take a moment and appreciate that CAST was up 2.3%, now they're up 2.6%. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go to that next slide. But I want to just say for some notes that we're looking at there, Salado is our highest in the district at 96.1%, and so that's our highest one. But compared from last month to this month, they actually increased the most. So while they're the highest, they're still gaining and gaining fast. And one thing that we want to highlight with them is they've got a cool program for talking points where they use it to send personalized messages. So like when a student's absent, the teacher, the team looks at it and they say, oh, hey, we missed Johnny at school today. We're concerned about it. So they send personalized messages home. And they feel like that's really increased the communication. And that's been a real boon and part of the success we're seeing with Salado. And one that we're sharing with the other campuses to kind of continue so that all the campuses can continue to gain throughout the year. We talked about how we started the year, so John and the team over at Student Services targeted kids. So we were trying to interrupt them before they became chronically absent, and we've been working with communities and schools to help give great interventions and work with all of our kids to try to help keep them on that path, because we know that when kids show up to school, they learn at a much greater rate than they're not trained. And so we learned that lesson certainly through COVID, that our teachers make a huge difference to our kids. And I just put a little note on there too that we had a lot of days since the last board meeting that we had holidays. And so that calendar may also be a contributing factor. We know that this is, they sometimes call it Shocktober because this is a real tough time of the year to be an educator, and it's a tough time to be in school. It's really typically like a desert. There aren't really any vacations. And so they were real strategic in making that calendar that you guys adopted, and that may be one of the reasons why we saw the increase. And so something to keep an eye on.
You knew what I was going to ask. I was curious.
I feel like you're into the deep. I feel like you're into the deep.
Last October to this October, with that topic.
I'm going to pivot into some discipline for you. So some notes on discipline. We did have district-wide, we had a partner we've been working with for about the last 10 years. And we had them come in October. We looked at our whole system, and they helped us kind of evaluate how we were doing, had individual conversations with campuses, make some great plans. They came back in November, focused on Tier 2, which is like that targeted population that maybe the kids that are struggling a little bit with their discipline, and trying to help us improve those systems and to keep it going. And then we have a coordinator of social emotional development. So she works with all the assistant principals, and she gives individual coaching for them. So she goes to all those meetings with them, they debrief, and make great plans. And you'll read many of those in their CG plans, so if they look at the next plan, you'll see lots of those around this work. Last time we talked a little bit about Legacy and East Central High School and how they that their discipline was a little bit higher than the others, and so I switched it up here. So don't flip ahead if you haven't already, because I want to catch you by surprise with the next slide. So what I want you to see here is that they've been working on the coding with their staff. So you guys have some great questions about coding, and just trying to make sure that we're doing apples to apples. And that so we went through and we looked at some of the coding, we did some more training, and kind of made sure that everything was as we intended it to be. They both are doing different PDs and work on it. Legacy told staff members that had high referrals and were kind of going in the system, looking at how they're doing in the classroom, giving them training and support to make sure that they were using the best practices to try to keep those numbers down and keep those kids making great decisions in class. East Central High School also noticed that like after lunch that they were getting spikes in their data of kids being like in the wrong areas and getting a little slow, get back to class. And so they did some work there trying to help bolster their systems around that so that we would catch the kids before they made those choices and keep them on the path. So normally I do that last, but what I didn't want you to think was, so what we're doing is we're celebrating here. So we were down to 10% reduction, our goal was a 30% reduction. As of week 14, we're at a 33% reduction. So we're now on track to meet our goal. And I thought if I did that first, you wouldn't be as interested in the little slides. I'm sneaky with the data. What I want you to see is October. You're seeing red, the two that we were highlighting. You see how they've come down a bunch. So they're not quite on track yet, but Legacy and East Central High School making big moves. And then see tradition is in that like improving, but not quite to the goal yet, which you can see that they're making very good. And then you see lots of green there for the rest of them. So that's a ton of work with campuses. And again, it's setting up those systems and being clear with the kids and having clear rules and all that work is really paying off. We started in summer with electrical campuses. And the tradition system we started about 12 months ago. They've made some great moves. They are rapidly gaining to their system, doing some great things. And so I can't wait to give you guys an update in December. You guys asked about, hey, can we look at year over year some specific things? So I pulled some of the most interesting and biggest incidents for the last few years. So what I want you to see is leaving assigned area. It's really similar, same time last year. But we put a little note on there. This little star is just saying that we have e-hall pass, a computer system that helps track all the kids as they leave. And what we think is that with that system, it's clearer and it's more evident when somebody is skipping, and so it has more attention, so more kids are getting caught doing it. So while the number's up slightly, we don't necessarily think that means that there are more of the incident as much as the system is doing so much better that it's catching things sooner. Let's see, disrupting the school environment was one of our higher ones. That one is up a little bit. You'll see the violating rules on the transportation. So like school bus referrals is down a little bit, but it is still one of our bigger referrals. And then I pulled everything that had the words fighting, scuffling, physical aggression. There's a couple different terms and things for it. But what I wanted you to see there was last year at this time we had 431, and this year it's at 205. So I put it in a little different color on the slide there so you can see it. And then you're talking about
Hello, Justin here. Good evening. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to talk to you guys about our college career military readiness data. Our current numbers are what you see on the screen right now. We're sitting right now today at 39% of our seniors, the graduating cohort of 2025, have met one of the 9 college career military readiness indicators. 4% of those are career ready and 37% are college ready. And so I just want to remind you, last year in April, we had some conversations with Eastville High School around their progress. We were sitting at 23% going into the month of April last year, and we were able to get that to 81% through some really concerted efforts with ECHS and their teams. And so the 37% that you see there, college ready, are students who kind of rolled over from last school year. They attained that as juniors, or those seniors have been working towards that through the beginning of the year. Our career ready is not yet on track where we want that to be. But these are industry-based certifications that our students earn, and so they will earn those throughout the year. So we expect that to be low for our students at the beginning of their senior year, and as they work through their CTE programming and gain the skills to that certification, they'll test later in the fall semester and really heavily into the spring. And then I did want to point out Cass Lead High School. They're currently sitting at 55% of their current class of 2025, meeting one of those indicators. And you'll notice they're a little bit higher on the career ready, again being a career-themed high school. They have a little bit of focus on that for those students last year's juniors, and 50% of their students are currently college ready. And so as we talk about some of the current interventions that we're doing to ensure that we maintain our progress and we continue to be on track to meet our goal of 88% of our cohort 25 meeting one or more of these indicators, some of the interventions we put into place are students who failed the first grading cycle of our college prep math and or English 4 were assigned to the program that we've set up called Texas College Bridge, and that happens during their HIVE time. So if they're not in a HIVE for a STAR assessment, they're receiving HIVE for Texas College Bridge to help with the remediation piece so students can become college ready. If the students were placed into an advanced course, AP statistics, AP calculus, something of that nature, colloquium, AP English 4, and they did not meet one of our college readiness or career readiness indicators going into their senior year, They are also taking Texas College Bridge during their high time in order to help them with remediation prior to taking any other college readiness assessments. We also were able to, through a lot of work with our regional service center and our English 4 teachers and our college prep math teachers, we stood up the college prep math and English courses as a partnership through all of the institutions, post-secondary institutions here in San Antonio, Region 20, and the district. And we've got around 500 students that are enrolled in that course. And then we added Texas College Bridge as an additional layer of support for all of our students that are at the Learning Academy East Central, which is around 130 students, 140 students. And so they are required to complete that before they finish their program. Some of the next steps that we're taking is once our students take the scholarly assessments in December, if they're a senior, we're going to be reevaluating their accelerated instruction plans along with the 2 high schools to make sure that we move any students who are successful in that scholarly assessment into a high time for Texas College Bridge so that they can gain that college readiness indicator so that we know they're ready to go into their post-secondary life. And then we are tracking a little over 100 students right now that are on track to earn an industry-based certification before they leave school. So, I'll pass it over to Jen.
Last month we talked a little bit about 6th and 7th grade math and how we were worried about those being a little lower than you're comfortable with. And then 3rd grade literacy, I'm going to add 4th grade math to that list. I'm just going to give you a brief view of those, and then Jen's going to talk a little bit about some of them. So I want you to make sure that you know how to read this because I gave you all of the subjects and all the grades for this at the end so you can see any of them. So on the left you'll see 6th grade math, we call it math 1. Because they take math 1, math 2, and then algebra in 8th grade. And so you'll see there's goals on the left. You'll see like a trend line trying to take all those scores and smush them together. We looked at the BOI in the first meeting. Last time we talked about the common formative assessments. That's more like an assessment from a resource that we're using now. On the right is that interim. So that's the one that we're now looking at. And the trend I want you to notice for these couple assessments is that it's not where we're hoping to be. But the meets and masters, so the higher performing students are tending to do, like we tend to be doing a little better there, but we've lost a little bit of ground at the approaches. So those kids that are trying to get to that passing level, that's where we're So like Heritage started the year, at the beginning of the year at 72% of approaches, and 54 approaches. But look at the increase on masters from 7% up to 22%. I'm going to do the same thing briefly with 7th grade math. What I want you to see is that this is the one that we really want to keep an eye on. So, look at the numbers there. So as a district, we were in the mid-50 range, and then after this most recent year, we were at 37%. But you do see an uptick there, especially in masters from 5% up to 14%. But this is one that we're gonna keep an eye on this one. And so 3rd grade literacy. So this one that I want you to see here, there's a little bit of a similar trend going on. I think you'll see this as we've gone to those high quality instruction materials. So what I want you to see is looking at that meets column from the beginning of the year, the district was at 34%, we're now at 42%, and then we went from 9% masters up to 24%. So the higher groups are gaining, but we did lose a little bit of ground there. So I wanted to keep it, we're still going to keep an eye on this one. But what I want you to see is from the last CFA, that was where we're like, hey, those numbers were way lower. And so it doesn't look like they're as low as what we thought with the CFA, but it's one that we're going to keep an eye on it. And so next month we'll get some good data. It'll be the same thing we did at the beginning of the year, so we can kind of really see what the progress looks like. And so we'll take a peek at 3rd grade literacy, and then I've got 4th grade math. I added this one. And so you'll see the uptick on masters, but you'll see that approaches is coming down. So it's similar to what we're seeing in the other ones. I think that there's a couple pieces of these, like look at Oakcrest maybe. So Oakcrest looks like their trend line's going up. They've got a big gain at meets and a really big gain at masters in particular. And so something, Oakcrest typically does some really interesting things with math. We've seen that their fifth grade math is usually really superlative, something to keep an eye on. And then we'll let Jim kind of wrap things up with kind of some of the moves we're making around this.
Great, thank you. So in math, looking at K through 5, and similar to what we did in early literacy, we restructured some of the master scheduling to allow for some additional time for teachers to pull small groups as they're getting to know their students more and getting to see the skills where they really need to pick up the pace a little bit or just, achieve at a higher rate. They're having more time to meet with those students either one-on-one or in small groups to personalize that instruction. In addition, in 3rd through 5th grade, we are looking at some additional STAR-aligned resources to give our students just more practice in working on questions the way they're going to look when they have to take those state assessments in the spring. We're doing some additional supports in 4th grade math specifically. Our instructional specialist is looking about a week ahead she's starting several weeks ahead, but specifically a week ahead in 4th grade and creating some instructional videos for the teachers to look at ahead of time to just pull their attention to some key points in content and really explain to them some of those pieces that are the most important for students to do in that upcoming week. Last month we talked about kinder and 1st grade literacy, having additional time for literacy instruction. We're continuing that and we're considering making that same move in 2nd through 5th grade literacy. We're continuing to focus on K1 foundational skills, those phonological awareness pieces, those decoding pieces, by increasing that frequency of progress monitoring. So what we know is if teachers are listening to students read often and knowing exactly where they're making mistakes, then they can plan instruction and help that reading get better faster. So they'll be working on that in small groups. 7th grade math, we actually did this this past week. We had additional training on curriculum planning and instruction where 7th grade teachers really got to look at the data from their students and look at the upcoming units and plan a different way of teaching where they're using some small group instruction and a blended learning approach, leveraging technology differently in order to really get students on target. And the response was so overwhelming that the algebra teachers are not asking for it. So we're making plans for that to happen for our Algebra 1 teachers in the next couple of weeks. We're beginning the process of analyzing curriculum materials for next year, so we're already diving into what TEA is potentially going to release this week as approved curriculum materials and where we might want to make any adjustments, if any, to any of those pieces in reading and in math. And then specifically in middle school literacy, we're looking at some additional interventions. So those students that are struggling in literacy and interventions up until now haven't been successful for them, what else can we tap into to just give them another set, a fresh set of opportunities to
Wrapping things up, this one is a link. So each of those 6 links are pictures I was just showing you for every grade level and every subject. So if you wanted to see it, you should be able to access it. You'll see there's 100,000 stories, and we're going to talk for a few hours. So thanks for giving me just a little bit of time to get some highlights for you. Like one highlight that I look forward to maybe next time telling the story is like pre-K. So it looks like pre-K is coming up. And so we've been doing a lot of work over the last few years on pre-K. So if you read through the elementary literacy, you'll notice that the pre-K data is looking promising. And so I can't wait to maybe take a few moments and kind of blow that up for a little bit next time. But you can read a little bit of the notes on some of the things that we're seeing there if you use that elementary literacy tab. What questions can we answer?
On attendance, you mentioned latest, there's a lot of users of talking point. How are they communicating on phone calls? How they you get personal phone calls?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not an expert on it. I understand it's a computer program that will send a personalized message home. I believe it does like a text and a message to the family. But
yeah,
that's how it works.
It's a text messaging app. The best part about it too is it automatically converts to the home language. So if it's let's say they're not native English speakers, when the teacher sends the message to the computer that we missed Shane today, it'll automatically convert to their language code immediately. And because it's a text message, it's on their phone, they can't ignore it. Whereas we know the old school phone calls, they can ignore those, they can't ignore the text because that message is there. And there's a lot of data research to show that by sending these very personalized messages of care and concern, and we want that it increases the level of engagement. And it's a two-way platform, so the parents can actually text message back and let the teacher know why Shane is missing today. You could even, if they wanted to send a doctor's note that goes directly to the attendance window so they can have that, be able to have access to that later on, possibly via future Steve absence.
I think that's a great program that's going on to help boost the attendance. I think Legacy does a great job also. They use voicemails when they call us, and we know exactly if the student's absent, if the student's tardy, and then what. Because I personally know because I get those calls when I encourage my daughter-in-law that I don't want to get these calls. So my granddaughter to school on time, so I think that's a good program.
I have a couple of questions. As far as the career college ready, whatnot, and the certification, is a certification at the end of the year going to be a part of passing the course? Is it mandatory for every class?
That's a great question. So we have a process by which our certifications are offered to the students. And so everyone is aligned according to TA standards to a program study the students are in. And so at the end of the year, or at some point, we have some teachers that are already starting to assess their students because they've already met the standards. We had about 10 students last week that earned a welding certificate because they were at a competition where they earned it. So it happens kind of throughout the entire school year. We do cover the cost of that certification for each one of the students who assesses, and we are pushing really hard on our teachers to ensure that if the student says, I don't want to take that assessment, they're asking why, what's holding them back. They're becoming very familiar with the students and their comfortability and familiarity with the certification, so that if the student has a concern and they say, well, I just don't think I'll be ready, then the teacher knows that they need to make adjustments, and they're making those adjustments for the students. So our goal is to get every one of the students who is enrolled in a course that is aligned to a certification to have those certifications.
I have one more question. When you said, I think it's for, I'm so sorry.
Jennifer.
Where you said that you have additional time and Starline resources, what resources are you talking about?
So we have a couple that we're looking at. There's a this is like a STAR master kind of set up a STAR, so the resources that are created for the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills and written to mimic the exact questions that are going to show up on STAR. So that's what we're looking at right now. Think Up Map is another one, and Think Up Reading. And one of the cool things about the Think Up resource is it really allows students to have the opportunities for writing, and that's one of the things we're really working on, those constructive responses for students and writing, responding to text. So we have more opportunity to do that than what we're seeing in our current resources.
And I'm so behind the curve, probably, and I apologize for that, but how do they take the STAR test now? Is it all computerized? So I went to a course at Region 20 that talked about some confusion and some difficulty for students having to use computers and possibly not.
Absolutely. We knew that was coming up a couple years ago. We started making some of those adjustments. So most of the assessments that our students are taking, whether they're CFA, whether it's the year assessment, and especially the they are taking on a platform that's either the state platform or one that we use internally that mimics exactly the same tools and the same structure that they're going to see when they're taking the STAR test. So right now we kind of use it as a teaching opportunity for the teachers to kind of monitor how students are doing and use some little teachable moments so to make sure they know what does this little icon mean, or if you click on this word or hover with this word, it's going to give you a picture or a definition, or this tool is how you can use scratch paper. So their third graders are learning those tools now. The second graders will actually start learning to use those tools in the spring, so that by third and fourth grade they're ready for it. So we try to mimic that environment and that platform as often as possible to give them what we call at-bats for that practice.
Thank you so much.
To piggyback on her question, Dale and I took a course and they were struggling with how they were going to determine for spelling for the fill in the blank questions. If their spelling was way off, they're going to get it wrong. They tried to come up with some similar spelling options, but in reality, if it's really off, it wasn't going to be counted. Does it get out and have to manually be graded?
The only time it's manually graded, and John, help me if I make a mistake, is if the scores come back and they're inconsistent. So they get scored several times. And if it's not showing up at congruence between them, then it goes to a reverse.
So they can get all of their fill in the blanks incorrect because of spelling,
analyzing the student extended constructed responses. So what we can see is how the state scored them on grammar conventions. They get up to 2 points on things like that in spelling. So we've been looking at some of our high students, medium students, low students, trying to find out what are the patterns and what are the things that seem to be getting us more points and what are the things that seem to not be making a difference. And so we're still doing a lot of that analysis right now. A lot of it comes to them just answering the question and getting evidence back from the text. But the grammar and the conventions is a piece of that as well.
Because there are students that may know that, is there any option for us to know that and how to make us understand, like, you just said,
By looking at samples?
we know our students and we know their patterns and things like that, you know, if one is maybe a bad speller, or if it like comes back that in science, every fill in the blank is wrong. AI pushed it through because, well, you got it wrong. So it's something that we can do.
We don't really see it like that. There is a process if you want to challenge some of the scoring on the extended constructed response. Right now, what that's looking like is there's a fee that the district has to pay for every single student paper that you're asking them to rescore. If that score or ends up being changed, then the district is reimbursed that fee. But if they do stand by, then the district is out. $50 a student.
So last year we did an analysis.
Sure, we did. We looked at quite a few. We also talked to some sister districts. There's a district in San Antonio that had 1,800 that they were challenging. And when they started doing their internal analysis to see, okay, do we really want to challenge these, they really only sent out 9 of those. I don't know the results of that. One of the things that we found when we did our analysis, because we did notice a lot of our high achieving students scoring lower than we thought they would. And it really comes down to understanding the rubric and what the state is looking for. It's a very technical type of writing that really hasn't been scored like this before. And so what we noticed is it didn't matter how long someone was writing, it didn't matter if they had a lot of literary language and adjectives, like what we thought of a beautiful, like poetic writer. But what it really came down to was taking that exact question, turning it into an answer, so kind of restating the question, and then citing specific evidence from the text to back up whatever it is they're making a claim. And so short, concise, technical writing is exactly what they're looking for, and what we're noticing AI is kind of really keenly honing in on. So we've started adjusting our instruction, we even made additional lessons and time in our pacing calendars this year, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way up, just to allow for more of that practice. So we're following that very, very closely with our CFAs and our data.
Can you talk a little bit about dyslexia? How are they, I guess the question is, how are they supported in kind of taking the test that we're talking about here?
Sure, so in the actual testing environment, any student that is receiving special education services provided for has an individual plan. There are some accommodations that are blanketed across the whole state that any student can have access to, and then anyone that's on a plan, they work with the program's facilitator, special ed, facilitator on the campus, and teacher to create what accommodations are allowable from TEA for them to have on the assessment. So on a reading assessment, they typically can't have the accommodation of having a reading text read to them because it's a reading assessment. But if it's a student with dyslexia taking a math assessment, then it's okay for the math part to be missed. And then in RLA, sometimes the questions can be missed, so it kind of depends on what they need. There are some text-to-speech options for students that are struggling with their writing and spelling, things like that. It is an individual case-by-case basis, and there's a criteria sheet that the state offers that we have to go through to make those decisions.
I think too, is it encouraged, or better word is almost like taken by the hand to some kids? I know one in particular, my son, which graduated, and he succeeded and did great, but sometimes he didn't understand or know the things that were allotted for him, and he would grow without having that extra help, if you will. So what kind of programs, struggle with the words that I'm trying to find, but what kind of structure is set by the adult to help them or to have anything?
Absolutely. So any student that's receiving accommodations to a tools are part of every assessment, with the exception of a couple of screeners and things like that. If those tools are available to them, teachers encourage them to use them when they need to. What we try to do is build the agency of the student to use the tools that they need when they need to use them, if that makes sense. So there might be a little place in the classroom where there's manipulatives or rulers or graph paper or index cards, and then when a student needs it, they learn to look at it, they know they can use it and bring it to their discussion. And then some of them are just built into the system in and of itself. So a student is receiving certain accommodations on some of our assessments as well as the state assessment is built into the platform itself, so the students automatically have access to them. Some of them already have it for them, and some of them have to click on. So we use this right now as kind of train them to click on these tools.
That's exactly what I wanted right there, so you answered the question. The other part is on the attendance part. So I know it's been a while, a few months ago, time flies, but we had talked about cleaning up the attendance part and coding and stuff like that. Because I think sometimes, personally, sometimes I would get a phone call and I question, hey, I went to the school, why were you late or whatever? Yeah, I was there and fear got in my, are you sure? And of course, he's answering. So what are we doing, I guess, to make sure that we're cleaning up those false absentees, tardies, because I think that those are usually, as they add up, they turn into an absentee. Is that correct?
I'm the phone a friend for some of that.
I guess what are we doing to make sure that where the attendance is correct and there's not as many false absentees?
Maybe I can answer part of it, and maybe I can say that John can help me a little bit too. So I know that the information systems team does like a 6-week verification thing where it goes back to the campus and they work with them to kind of validate the data, and the principal looks at it also. John, what else can I?
Yeah, there's an internal process that each campus works together on cleaning that up. So in the event a student comes in after they've taken roll, so then the teachers have to send an email to the attendance clerk to correct that in a timely manner. And so the other piece is tardies do not turn into an absence. So I know that's the myth, but we have attendance forms on each campus. That's one thing that we do clean up and let them know that, hey, tardies, if you're arriving late, does not turn into an absence. So we're constantly checking on, cross-checking with our department, with information systems on having actual correct data on the attendance side of that.
Good. I know something that I guess, perception, a lot of times happens when the false absence is when there's a substitute teacher. Or are we doing some type of training to make sure that they know how to do the attendance properly?
Yes, sir. So each campus does their own internal training within that. And this also involves, like, for example, field trip, when athletics leaves half day, it's all connected with that. So if they're testing, so those attendance slips, those sign-in sheets have to be turned into the attendance office, so that way they can correct those attendance, because the teacher's gonna mark them absent because they're not physically there.
Okay.
So, but on the back end, we have to submit those lists to the attendance clerk in a timely manner to get all those submitted before that phone call goes out that afternoon.
Yeah, because I still get phone calls. And sometimes it's like, okay, he's at a football game and I know because I saw him. So, but I get it, as long as he's not getting, they're cleaning it up, maybe before I get the phone call went out before they.
Yes, sir. And I know we do encourage all families to get the parent portal, because the parent portal will tell you in real time, where they're at. But it takes all of us basically. It's the communication piece from information systems, our office, with the clerks on the campus level. But at the same time, we're also communicating with the family, because sometimes they may not understand to their platform how to get on the parent portal. Like tomorrow, I'm going to a mediation contract. So it's all connected with attendance forums. So it's family engagement opportunities for us to showcase our campuses and our key stakeholders on each campus. So that way they're not intimidated to reach out with those.
Let me ask you a question also. attendance is turned in at 10 o'clock, am I right?
9:30?
9:30 to 10 o'clock, so if a student comes after that particular time, he's asking for the entire day?
For ADA purposes, yes. But
That would be understood.
as far as in secondary schools, so the period after, 11 o'clock, for example, it's compulsory attendance. So in that case, they're trying to get the credit earned for that third period. So it turns into 8 absences, for example, for that semester. So if they miss 8 or more, then they're gonna have to do some form of Saturday school to recover that credit, even if they pass that course. So that's why it's still important that even though it's after 9:30, for the students to still attend school after that time.
After that time, but they're still absent for that
Yes, sir.
entire day, all right?
Yes, sir.
Well, David, does anything else I would ask? I know that was real lengthy, but you guys put in so much work.
Yes.
The fact that you delivered all that information really piqued us, so it's really, it's really what we wanted to see, and we appreciate the opportunity to ask those questions, and we are going into that, so thank you so very much. Appreciate it So the next item on the agenda is 6.2 personnel report.
Trustees, this month's report is in your electronic packet. We have additional information. Need, we have an opportunity to review the activity. The personnel continues to try and fill vacant positions. There are a few teaching positions, as the year goes on, we do have some turnover that happens throughout the year for various reasons, and so we're constantly losing a position, filling a position. So there is some continued activity, but these are, as you're very aware, some unique times. We're definitely seeing the supply of quality staff diminishing. We know that the teacher prep programs are seeing lower enrollment year over year into prep programs in higher ed. And so, we do have some vacancies we haven't filled, but we're also partnering with all higher ed entities in the area to really bolster up our teacher residency program, which is not indicated here in this month's activity, but you'll see across the district that we have a growing number of teacher residents. So that's very different than student teaching. They actually spend that last year earning their credential the entire year in our system with the seasoned teacher hosting them, earning their certification. But what more importantly, allows us a chance to develop them in our systems, familiarize them with our curriculum and instructional models, and gives us first dibs at hopefully hiring the most talented out there before they hit the field, if you will, or the market. So together, we feel like we're doing a great job and continue to look for ways to not only recruit the best, but keep the best for our students. So again, we haven't answered any additional questions or get you additional information on any details in the report.
And with that, we'll move on to item 6, on the instructions update. Mr. Toscano?
Yes, ma'am. Trustees, this month's report is going to be presented, as it is always the case, but in your electronic packet, the next slide, follow along that way. Mr. Thomas?
Good evening. We're going to start off with Highland Forest. As you can see here, most of this construction is completed. We're growing in some grass. We've got some trees out there now. We've actually taken the principal and we walked this inside of this campus, and it is ready to turn over for the December that we had discussed previously. So we'll be ready to use in December. This project came in well ahead of schedule and is in budget, as we will be returning some of the savings of this project. Oak Crest, you can see here, there's some interior sheathing, some taping and floating going on, some mechanical work going up above the ceiling. We've got a roof going on, and the exterior of the building is being, the masonry is being done and completed as well. So we're making good progress on this. Building's coming along. Finally, Valley. Y'all have been, some of y'all went out there to do the beam signing this last month. You can see that we're making good headway out there. I think we'll be ahead of schedule on this one as well, continuing to erect the steel, finalizing the slabs as well. And then we've got the final grading, so we're getting the roads completed as well as the football field. CTE, we're waiting for the permitting from Bear County. We're ready to roll on as soon as we get that completed. We're going to move forward. Tonight in your agenda is the GMP for the elementary school victory in Elmendorf. The staff from Highland Forest is sitting here in the front, and the group that completed that project early is going to be the one that's going to take on that elementary school. So we're looking forward to working with them again. It's done a great job and been great partners for us.
Just have a comment. I wanted to commend you guys and the partners that we have. Appreciate the hard work and diligence. I think you guys need to watch them.
They certainly gave them a run, yes.
I'm sure the quality is way better, but nonetheless, I do appreciate everything you guys have done. I look forward to go tour it again. It's completion. Thank you.
I want to echo that and note that thankfully you guys are doing this next one and easily get the quality and the expertise that we got this first time go around. So it's exciting things. Does anybody else have anything else?
We'll be scheduling a ribbon cutting too for that Highland Forest edition, so we can all get out there and celebrate the community and take a first-hand look at the finished product. They did do an exceptional job.
Yes, they
all the way
did.
around. Very proud of them.
Yes, sir. So then, yes, thank you very much. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is going to be the 6.4 upcoming events. For the trustee report.
Yeah, so trustees, just real quick, November and December calendars. Obviously here in November, the district will be closed next week for Thanksgiving break. You are aware, and you guys can make arrangements to get to Laredo, Sherman Field, to see the Hornets take on Westlaco Panthers in the second round of the playoffs Friday night. But in December, when we get back to Thanksgiving, it's fast and furious. You'll see a really busy calendar. You'll see, if you skim through there, a lot of Christmas caroling, a lot of theater performances, some community parades in Elmendorf and St. Hedwig. You'll see posadas, you'll see pastorelas, you'll see sing-alongs, pancakes with Santa. I mean, all the Christmas and holiday celebrations in a community gatherings that your heart can desire. So mark your calendars, you can participate in several of those. You'll also notice that on the 20th and 21st of December is our annual Ag Show, which kicks off show season. So we'll be hosting that down in the barn. And then your next regularly scheduled board meeting in December is on the 17th. And then the district will be closed again from the 22nd of December through January 6th for the Christmas holidays. And of course, there is some activity during that time. Some student groups having some tournaments, basketball, soccer, boys and girls.
All right, sounds good. So the next item up is the trustee reports. Okay.
So I posted all my stuff on social media. I didn't want to go on this meeting because we have a lot of stuff to get to, but I did go visit Salado and Honor. I love that room up top. I know you're sick and tired of probably saying that, but that room up top is amazing. My favorite. And then I was at Salado's trunk or treat, which was a big event. There was a lot of people in the pot, but they were still there, sitting in line to get that candy. There was a bunch of trunks participating. So that's about it, but it's all on my social media. I do want to say, I hope you guys have a happy
And thank you for all that you do for our kids, our kiddos, because it means a lot.
So I did attend the trunk or treat at Harmony, and my gosh, is that place exploding. I stayed for, it was amazing. I mean, golly, the people that came out, and I had a meeting across town, and so I had to leave a little bit early, but they were still just coming in by the droves. It's just exploding. I'm so behind time. It was amazing. And so the kids were there, the parents were there. They had a huge, I think they had probably 100 pumpkins in the contest.
All set. Let's go.
And then I did get to go out to the meeting signing. I did my first one because I missed the other one at the last one that we did in honor. And so, golly, just to be able to stand there amongst all of that building and that construction was just mind-blowing to me. And it was a beautiful windy day, and I just can't imagine what it's going to be like for the kids to be there going to school. It's just beautiful, and just I had such a sense of peace there, and not to get all corny, but it just feels like it's going to be a beautiful place for kids to go to school. So that was really it was nice to be there, and I appreciate the opportunity to sign that deal. And then I started attending the school safety committee meetings now, and so I'm learning a lot about what goes on for the safety, and so really grateful and blessed to be able to sit around the table with the people from SAPD and Bear County and the fire departments and all of the people that we have there. There's so many to list, but I'm getting a lot of knowledge from that, so I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm gonna turn it over to the next person.
I didn't do much or anything, to be honest with you. But I did get to go sign that green, so we hid him somewhere in that building. So whenever they tear it down, you'll be able to see it. Hopefully never. Now, I did get to do one thing that I'm proud of. And that was, over at Harmony, I was invited to go over there for a little brainstorming as to the new name for that new school. And I jokingly said, how about Victory, since my name happens to be Victor? And got thrown around, and I jokingly said, how about that one? And turns out that it became one of the final 3 names that got tossed around here. And then when I brought it up, everybody got all excited. Hey, come on. I said, no, let me give you my reasoning. And I was able to defend it. And because we have, honor, and we have tradition, and we have valor, and so it kind of goes along, victory, and it won. So my name will be, yeah, it'll be there until y'all turn down the building. So my name will exist in perpetuity. Maybe with a white even, but still. So there you go. That's my part and my contribution to this victory.
All right.
Anyway.
Well done, well done.
I'm done.
Okay, I finished up National Lunch Week over at Legacy with the principal, also the school cafeteria, and I served lunch on that Friday. I think it ended up that week, so I got a chance to go over there and visit with our Legacy and help serve the kids and have a great time. And also, Legacy also gave me a little gift for coming over, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, that's my granddaughter there. She goes to Legacy, and that's who's that? She works over there at Legacy, I think, secretary. Yes, okay, and she gave me the gift, and I enjoyed visiting again over there at Legacy. Okay, this is over at Sinclair. This is, I think, is donuts with loved ones, right? And that's my grandson and his teacher. That's the principal there, Mr. Harvey, and the top officer. And I think the little girl dressed up like a police, she's a student there also, I think, some type of, day that when he was wearing their costumes, because I see my grandson in his costume, and I spent a day over there. It was pretty nice, donuts with loved ones. Oh, wow, yeah, that's my grandson, and I took a picture with him also on that same day. Okay, I went to the signing, and that's very exciting times for all the parents to see that the kids, get scholarships and go off to school, and so we had a great time out there with them, visiting with them, and I think those are softball players, right, they are softball players. And so I went to that particular signing also. Okay, this is the Hollandale tournament, that's, Coach Areola, and we had a great time. That was a great tournament. Our basketball team represented the district well. I'm not sure what place they came in, but quite a few, we're looking for an exciting season out of that basketball team. There was quite a few sophomores playing on there that did a great job. So we had a good visit over there at that tournament, and I think we ended up in the hospitality room and had for a great lunch, right?
So, took advantage of, well, I'll tell you, I was blessed by this opportunity that I had to go to the PAC, and they had the Spanish Melody and tremendous talent with these young people. And elementary age, I wasn't able to see the older kids. I think that was on Wednesday. This was Tuesday, if I remember. But some of the words, I would say I probably know about 85% of Spanish, but most of those words were in the 15% that I didn't know, and they could spell them. I was just in awe, and the awesome participation. The parents were there, and the teachers and the staff that poured into these kids, and to highlight their culture as well. Just breathtaking. Great opportunity. I appreciate the way hospitality that was shown to these kids are amazing. Veterans Day luncheon at Heritage. Got a chance to serve veterans as they served us and sacrificed so much. My father-in-law there on the top left, and my mother-in-law, he's a Desert Storm veteran. Gave 30 years of his life to this country in service to this country. Good lunch, and so I had my wife loan me her shirt and said, "Don't get it dirty." I didn't get one stain on it. Served turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, and green beans. I didn't get any stains. I did a good job. This was one of the last home game of the season, and these young men are outstanding coaching staff. You can tell that the kids love the coaches because they play their hearts out for each other and for the coaches. And the coaches, I've seen them get on the young men. The young men respond because they love the coaches and they respect the coaches. They love someone who respects them. They do, even if they yell at you. But they yell at them in love, and I can tell that they love them because they'll go and hug them after. And just impressive to see these young men go out there and stay humble. So don't want to just pull out just one in particular, but the quarterback is an outstanding athlete. I believe his character is even stronger than his play on the field. Next one, I'll try to speed up. This was a basketball game that I had an opportunity to go and experience and see. And yeah, you see scored at 97-34. These young men were playing their hearts out, and I believe it's 5 or 4 of the varsity team was playing football, so they weren't playing yet, so they were doing level of commitment from parents support. So it was an honor to be able to be part of this day. And this was something that I got an opportunity to experience, and I'll tell you, it was life-changing, if you will. So I'm part of the leadership capacity, and we had an opportunity to go out to El Paso. And it's the first time I ever seen it there. I've never been to El Paso. But we got to go and see, visit this school district over there, and this high school here in Rosario. We got an opportunity to go into each one of these classrooms, and we were greeted with a fanfare, if you will. They had their band out, they had their cheerleaders. Then they had the junior high, even the junior high cheerleaders saw us there. So it's pretty neat walking down and feel like a superstar, but I just kept pointing to them and telling them how they're the superstars. Thank you for this hospitality that they showed us. And the culture there is very strong. They had their audio dancers. They did some performance there. And then they had a lunch for us there. My left, they have a college-sized culinary kitchen, beautiful kitchen. And they were impressive, similar to ours, our culinary. I'll throw a shout out to ours. Very impressive. One thing that stood out there, that was the wall that they have there, and they allowed us to go through the border patrol. It was very just outstanding. And I can tell you from the eyewitness and what I got to hear, they have a great rapport with the students. They have a track team, cross-country team, and soccer team as well, San Rosario. And the border patrol has bought them. Last year, they bought each one of the soccer team and the cross country. They bought them Christmas presents, and it was any Christmas present they wanted. Some were getting bikes, some were getting video games. I was just impressed. You don't hear that a lot, right? You hear all the negative side, but they actually have a great partnership. They focus on that, and the superintendent, Dr. Mesa, kept talking about the partnerships, and they're partnered with several other community leaders, churches, and they had a district-owned park, baseball field and soccer field, and they opened it up to the public. And small community to give those kids something to do in the afternoon and evenings. And she was telling us that that park is full with about 200 kids and adults, and they all have an opportunity to play games and to have community. I thought that was really impressive. Another football game. This was the my district. My son got married this past weekend. I flew in from El Paso and straight over to the rehearsal dinner, and left there. Ate real fast. We did the thing, and I got to at least I think it was the third quarter. I got to see him win. So I was a little busy. That's why I had my Okie doke on there. Rehearsal dinner. Again, the young men are just amazing. So thank you.
Again, I enjoyed on the theme signing for it was extremely moving just to put your name on something that's going to be preserved for a long time, and know that some little people are going to be on that ground and getting a great education. So that was really for me. I did an online interview with the university that was trying to get some information and background on why people serve or run for school board elections. And I felt honored to be able to share, the real reason that I run, that I serve, and of course the people that I serve with. So many times people think that there's a lot of perks and we do get a lot of perks, yeah. But that there's other reasons why trying to climb up the political ladder or whatever the case may be. And so I was happy to take a few minutes and share what, probably a lot of people don't know that we do and who we represent and working with the community and just being partners, you know, with you and the great people that we serve. So I enjoy that a lot. And then I guess the last thing I want to say is wonderful Thanksgiving and loving your family and eat lots of turkey, but not too much that you can't come back.
Very nice, thank you, Mr. Brazil. So the next section on the agenda is action agenda, and the item is 7.1. And we're going to consider casting the East Central District allotted votes in the election for their county directors. Mr. Sasana?
So that'd be a board item.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I believe that Bill has that, and we have decided, and Ms. Bill's going to announce how we're going to allot those votes. We have a total of 81, and she'll read off.
Yes, 81 and so, Madam President, I move that we recommend those 81 votes for the particular candidates, and that is Dr. Roger Booker for 10 votes, Mr. John Fisher for 20 votes, Mr. Dan Gannon for 21 votes, Dr. Adriana Garcia for 20 votes, and Ms. Tammy Glasgow for 10 votes. That adds up to about 81 votes that they're able to pass.
And so, as Ms. Brazil has read the allotted votes and how we're going to distribute those, do you have any questions in regard to that? And so do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is that the move, or should we spread it out?
She wanted to.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Brazil, a second from Victor Garza. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Brazil. The next item is 7.2, is consideration and approval of resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the bond election and tax ratification election.
Madam Trustees, in your miscellaneous packet, you have a handout there that is titled Summary Results Report. And it is signed by the Bexar County Election Administrator Jackie Callan from the final. So for East Central Independent School District Proposition A, there were a total of 25,439 votes cast, 12,048 of those were for, and 13,391 were against. And there were 3,223 undervotes being votes not cast yes or no. So the item was essentially skipped by the voters. For East Central ISD Proposition B, there were a total of 25,516 votes cast, 11,306 votes for, 14,210 votes against, and 3,146 undervotes. For East Central Independent School District Proposition C, there were a total of 25,547 votes cast, 10,893 for, 14,654 against, and again, 3,115 undervotes for that item. And then finally, Proposition D, 25,647 total votes cast, 11,126 for, 14,521 against, with 3,015 undervotes. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about any of those returns or results.
Does anyone have any questions? I have a statement to make. I just want to let everyone here know that we appreciate your support and all of your help with trying to push this bond through. I know that everybody was on board, and we're not done. So we're not going to give up. We've got kids coming and getting these schools, so we are going to reach chair, and all of those of you that know others in the community that helped try to get this pushed through. I really appreciate it very much, and so did the board. So with that, I'm sorry. Yes,
All right.
yes, do I have a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of the attached canvas resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the bond election and tax ratification election as presented.
Do I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation? And do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Mr. Richard Garza, and I have a second from Ginger Friesenhunt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So the next item on the agenda will be 7.3, canvas results of the November 2024 board trustee election.
Trustees, again, in your miscellaneous packet, you'll see a continuation of the same document that you just referred to. You'll see trustee place number 6, Emiliano Emilio Carrasco, ran unopposed. All 2,539 votes cast were cast in favor of Emiliano Emilio Carrasco. 1,372 unvotes. And in trustee place number 4, you'll see that there were a total of 2,464 votes cast, 1,013 of those to David Santos Jr., 909 to Sega Rich Morales, and 542 to Victor Garza, 1,180 votes. You have to answer any questions regarding those results.
Does anyone have any questions? So we have a recommendation from
Madam,
oh, sorry.
yeah, Madam President, I recommend board approval of the attached canvas results of November 5th, 2024 Board of Trustee election as presented.
Thank you. We have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion to accept? And do I have a second? So we have a motion from Mr. Garza, and we have a second from Mr. Carrasco. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 7.4.
Madam President, may I have a few moments?
You absolutely can.
I'd like to say something concerning these votes. Something to do with apathy. The definition of apathy is lack of interest, unwilling to take action, especially over something important. I ran for re-election. I asked Ms. Pavasic for a list of eligible voters in District 4. Because I wasn't sure how many there were. She gave me a list. The packet was about an inch thick. Names on both sides. An inch. Imagine how many people were listed on that. Eligible voters. Now maybe they weren't all there anymore. But imagine how many there were. Now you take that and multiply by 7. Imagine how many people are listed eligible voters. He just read off. District 4 was decided by 2,464 people. That many eligible voters. 2,464 people decided who's going to sit here. Now, I'm not concerned about that. I'm not upset about it. Apathy. Maybe this decision is not important. But you heard the numbers for the referendum. 25,000 here, 25,000 there. The voters or the citizens of East Central allowed 25,000 people to decide for you what was going to happen. in this district for the bonds. No more teachers, whether you need them or not. No more buildings, whether you need the kids or not. No more fixing of the sports arenas, whether you need them or not. No more anything. Now, you were given 4 choices. You could have said no to one or the other, yes or no. That's why they were split up 4 ways. If you want to pick the athletic buildings, that's fine, you could have said no. If the weatherman says there's a tsunami coming, you don't want to believe him. The tsunami's going to come anyway. If they told you there's a tsunami coming, that means the buildings are coming, the schools, the houses are coming. Just because the people say they're not coming, these people, these 15, on the average of 14,500, 15,000 told you it ain't gonna happen. Guess what, folks? All you see is brown roofs. Everybody look. 1604 and 182 and 181. 1604 and 10. Down this road here, towards town, around Harmony, around St. Edward. Everywhere you look, there are brown roofs. The tsunami is coming. These people told you, you don't need another school. Cram the kids in the same buildings. You don't need another teacher. Stick the kids in the same classroom. If the limit is 20, get a waiver, stick 4 kids more in that classroom. Let the teacher teach them. They don't fit in the room, get a portable. They're drafty, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Apathy, folks. Apathy, lack of interest. 25,000 people. Some tried, the others said no. The last referendum we had, it failed. We brought it back. It passed. I don't know if you all paid attention, but that second referendum that finally got passed, it cost you, the citizens, $63 million more to build the same things that we had asked you to cover, because the cost of building went up. I used to buy 2x4s for $3. Now I'm paying $10 for a 2x4. I'm a fiddler. I'm a dual shuffler fiddler. Can't cut the board straight, but I buy a fiddle around with a 2x4. It cost me $10 each now. Cost of building is going up. We're going to bring this back to you. Well, these guys are. I'm not going to be here. These guys are going to bring it to you, and it's going to cost you more because people decided not to go. You know, I think people voted more for the railroad commissioner, and I don't think anybody really knows what the hell the railroad commissioner does. But they voted for him.
Mr. Garza, you have to probably end this, it's not on the agenda to.
I know that, ma'am.
But thank you, appreciate your word about apathy, it's very, very.
There you go. This is what happens. That's that all.
Oh, no.
Think about it.
No, we appreciate
I'm
everything
done.
you have to say.
I'm
Thank you
done.
very, very much for everything you have to say.
And that's
Very,
what happens,
very
folks.
true.
Apathy.
Very true, very true. Okay, next item on the agenda is, I believe, 7.4, the 2024 tax rate.
As trustees, due to the Baker Proposition A not passing, as you recall, part of the statutory requirement in putting Baker forward was that the board had to adopt the budget with that additional number of pennies added to the tax rate, which was 5 cents to the maintenance and operations side of the budget. As a result of that not being passed in the November 5th election. What is necessary for the board to do is to recall that tax levy back to the original rate. So the tax rate for 2024 will now be 88.29 cents per $100 of assessed value as listed below. It is made up of 6.6669 cents on the maintenance and operations rate and 0.2160 cents on the INS rate for a total of 0.8829 cents. So essentially, again, to restate, what we're doing is removing the 5 cents from the initially approved total tax rate on the M&O side, and resetting it back to the original rate. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about that.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So, we have a recommendation from the superintendent, do I have a motion? And do I have a second? So I have a motion by Mr. Crosco and a second by Ms. Wizenhut. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. So the next item on the agenda is 7.5. That's consideration and action on resolution establishing the district's intention to reimburse itself for the prior lawful expenditure of funds for capital expenditures for the proceeds of tax exempt obligations and other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Tisdale?
So trustees, you may recall that in 2022, when we put that bond forward, prior to that, the board had authorized a resolution essentially saying that should that bond pass, any bond expenditures that happened prior to that for a 6-month period could be reimbursed. And so in this particular case, the board had previously authorized the design of the future high school in the interest of accelerating the construction timeline. What we're intending to do with your direction is continue the design of that high school. That high school design is going to incur some civil engineering costs. It's going to incur some geotechnical boring, and that's going to inform the further development of those designs, ultimately bringing drawings to market sometime in the next August timeframe. Our hope is that we have a successful campaign in May, which would then allow the board to reimburse itself, the district, with those bond proceeds and maintain the current timeline that we're on for the construction of that second high school. So with your approval today, essentially from today, 60 days back and 6 months forward, anything that would be authorized as a bond construction capital improvement expenditure to include land acquisition that the district incurs between now and May, should a bond pass in May, could be reimbursed. It's a little bit of a risk, but we believe it's a necessity in order to maintain those timelines given the rapid enrollment growth that we continue to see. We have to answer any questions.
Can I explain that reimbursement?
Yes, sir. So with future bond proceeds, anything that we would have funded with those proceeds within this window of time, like civil engineering, like architectural design fees, like geotechnical boring samples which inform that design, like acquisition, anything that would be among the bond proposition that the district pays for in advance of a bond passing. Now, if the bond doesn't pass, those are just local expenditures. If the bond does pass, this resolution allows the board, us to bring those expenses back to the board, and for the board to authorize reimbursement using bond, future bond.
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, so Madam President, I recommend board approval of the resolution establishing the district's intention to reimburse itself for the prior lawful expenditure of funds from the proceeds of taxes and obligations.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move we approve.
Do I have a second? So I have a
Trustees, the foundation had another successful fundraising season last year. They were able to allocate $164,360 in awards for mini grants to teachers, 34 teacher mini grants to be specific. And because the donation is greater than $5,000 per board policy, CDC local boards include the acceptance of said donation. So we have to answer questions. Yeah, the foundation met last week and they were talking about their experience, and there was several teachers who received awards. The students were so excited, the teachers were emotional and really, in their words, reaffirmed their commitment to why they do what they do. It's worthy message. So very thankful for the foundation. Yes, ma'am, I recommend the board accepting the donation from the Essential Foundation in the amount of $164,360 as presented.
I have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Sure. So I have a motion from Ms. Greenbaum and a second from Coach Moulton. Do I have all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The next item is, section 8, consent agenda. Do I have anything that needs to be pulled? Would like to be pulled?
Yes, I'd like to pull 8.2.
Mr. Carrasco is requesting to pull 8.2, which is new courses for high school 2025 and 2026. Mr. Chisnada.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, trustees, I'd like to call Dr. Amanda Moore up to the podium to provide the board with a brief overview of the innovative courses that we'll be proposing for your approval tonight.
President, could you cut that out?
Entertaining. You got it. Mr. Thomas is on. Everybody's nose is red. All right.
We had 3 new courses that we're requesting to be brought into East Central High School and Cassidy High School this upcoming school year, for the 2026 school year. The first one that we're requesting, excuse me, is an innovative course through Texas Education Agency. And it is titled Introduction to Aerospace and Aviation. TA has recently realigned the program to study for critical education. And we're currently offering every single program of study every single course of program of study for drone unmanned vehicle engineering, except this course, which will allow our students the opportunity, if we are able to provide the students this course next year, we will be able to offer the students at the end of that program of study the FAA certification in unmanned aerial vehicle piloting. So they'll be able to pilot drones within a certain range. The second program that we are discussing this evening is in regards to our health science program. This is a addition to our P-Tech program at East Central High School. We are phasing in a limited radiology technician certificate, and this will be the level 3 course for that. So students are taking the Principles of Health Science course, Imaging Technology 1 this year. Then the next course not to be Imaging Technology 2. And our hope is that with this approval, we would be able to partner with the Alamo colleges and our P-Tech to offer credit opportunities, because we do have an instructor currently on staff who is appropriately certified to do such. So, and again, that would be finishing out one of our programs of study to add a new program for limited radiology technician. And then the third course is going to be a local course that Cassidy High School is requesting to help bridge the gap for our students, that will allow them opportunities and time during the school day to focus strictly on their project-based learning experiences. So the PDLs, if you'll remember, are a cornerstone of the CAST lead design of the school. The students having the opportunity to use curriculum from all of the different content areas and put that into a student-influenced research project that they then share with our stakeholders at the end of their research. So that'll give them time in the course, in the school day to utilize the skills that they learn. Thanks for your questions about
Thank
this.
you so much. Anybody have any questions?
That was awesome. I thought that aerospace is one of the ones that
Yes.
caught my eye. I know that in the industry that through CPS, we're starting to use that technology to check to inspect the lines and stuff like that. So I just thought that was really neat. I appreciate you bringing that up to us. Thank you.
Mr. Hopper is very excited and ready to go with that, so, thank you.
Thank you. So before, let's see, I think that's right. Yes, I'm sorry.
So, Madam President, I recommend board approval of the new course proposal for high school, for the 2025-2026 school year as presented by Dr. Holman.
Thank you. So I have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move.
And do I have a second? Oh, so I have a motion from Mr. Carrasco and a second from Coach Mulkey. And all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And so, right quick before we adjourn, I just, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I just always wanted to get out of here. It's so obvious. Sorry. So do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
Madam President, I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second? So I have a motion from Ms. Friesenheim to accept the consent agenda, and I have a second from Mr. Carrasco. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, before we adjourn, I just wanted to give the board, anyone here the opportunity, and I'll take the lead, so, you know, because I talk a lot. But I just want you guys to enjoy and rest during your holiday. We won't see you again until after Thanksgiving, so please spend time with your family, love them, hug them, take lots of pictures, make lots of memories, eat lots of good food, and celebrate. And just know that we appreciate you so very much for everything that you do for us and our students and our district. They're very, very much appreciated. Anybody?
I'd like to say just a couple of things. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. We have a lot to be thankful for. I know personally, and like Madam President spoke about, you guys do a whole bunch, and the girls noticed. We appreciate what you do, and I'm thankful for you. Thank you.
Y'all go enjoy that overgrown chicken.
All right, so item 9 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? And a second? Do I have a motion to adjourn? And a second from Mr. Wilson to adjourn? All those in favor? All those opposed? Good night.